Hi everyone, we're Logan and Jenny of the Two Traveling Kings, and we're all about making the most of travel on a budget.
We recently traveled from the US to Australia, stopping in 9 different countries along the way.
We ate, we drank, and saw the sights, all while saving money. So in today's video, we wanted to share with you exactly how much we spent in Copenhagen. Copenhagen was our first stop in our 2 months, 9 countries journey, and it is a beautiful Nordic city.
Throughout this entire video, we'll be including links to our daily vlog series when we were in Copenhagen, so be sure to check those out if you want to see what we did day to day. And if you're looking for a good recap of the information in this video, we'll put all of the information in our description below and a link to our blog post, so be sure to check that out.
We know that at the time of posting this video, travel is restricted due to the pandemic, but hopefully this video can help you plan your trip to Copenhagen once things are back to normal.
Whatever that's going to mean. So, let's get started.
Getting started with our spending. Each of us per day on average spent 81 US dollars, and that includes accommodation, food, transport, and activities. So breaking it down even further, for our accommodation, we spent about $45 a night.
And on food, activities, and transportation, we spent about 36 US dollars per person per day. Let's focus on the biggest part of our budget for Copenhagen, which was accommodation. Now, normally Logan and I don't like to stay in hostels. Not to say that we're picky or uppity or whatever, it's just that as a couple and not a early 20s backpacker, we just kind of like to have our own space. That said, we really enjoyed the hostel that we picked in Copenhagen. So we chose to stay at the Urban House Copenhagen Hostel. It was located just a few blocks from the Copenhagen Central train station, and that's how we got to Copenhagen from the airport. So just take a train from the airport and you're steps away from the hostel, which is really awesome. Just a quick disclaimer, we were not paid to talk about any of this information. It's purely helpful information that we want to share with you.
As Jenny said, location ticks the box. Great spot in the city. We also enjoyed using the kitchen facilities in the hostel, so that's one of the perks of staying at a hostel. Communal kitchen, we use that about every day for breakfast. Another money-saving tip we'll talk about later in the food section.
Out of all the hostels we've ever stayed in, this was definitely an upscale hostel. We ended up staying in a 4-bed mixed dorm room, so not one of those massive 16-bed dorms that you find in other hostels. So we ended up meeting some really cool people from France and Germany, but we had our own ensuite bathroom and the beds were very clean, nice, everything was quite modern. So the rooms, A+.
Great value for money.
Overall, the hostel was really great and we definitely recommend staying there. There were on-site laundry facilities, tons of common areas to hang out in, and even a bar and restaurant in the bottom. So it really has everything you could possibly need, and it's actually really cheap.
That is our first major expense out of the way, accommodation. So now we can move on to food, activities, and transportation. Starting off with food. So one of our favorite things to do when we get to a new place is to just drop all of our things and go out and have a nice meal as we get settled. And in Copenhagen, we spent quite a fair amount of money, not realizing how expensive it was to go out to eat.
Nice treat, something we won't be doing too often.
No.
It was like $40.
So that was one of our first major lessons we learned, and we learned it early.
After that first night dinner experience, we quickly realized how expensive the food was going to be in Copenhagen, and we made the Lidl grocery store up the street our new best friend.
We didn't love our breakfast every day in Copenhagen, but it did save us money to enjoy other things throughout the day. So we had toast with peanut butter on it, yogurt, and oatmeal, all made quickly in our hostel kitchen.
We were often out and about during the day, so sometimes for lunch we'd just grab a prepackaged sandwich and toss it in our bag with an apple, and then for dinners we'd try to make something in the hostel kitchen. One night we decided to get romantic and creative and have a charcuterie cheese board.
Charcuterie.
It was, I think it cost $6 in total. It was like hot dog buns and not good cheese, and it was interesting. Thoughts on what we bought?
But dry. The link's right up there. You can give it a watch yourself.
We tried, But that said, we did skimp on some things for meals because there were certain items in Copenhagen that we knew we wanted to try.
The main things that we wanted to try while in Copenhagen were the hot dogs at the hot dog carts and smørrebrød, which we don't really know how to say. Here's how you're actually supposed to say it.
Smørrebrød.
We're not good at the Danish accent.
I think my favorite thing that we ate in Copenhagen was the Mr. Hess Hot Dog stand hot dogs. It was right down the street from our hostel, right next to the central Copenhagen train station. Mr. Hess, if that's who he is, was so friendly and nice. He got a kick out of our camera.
Am I coming on live TV now? Where are you from?
US.
So it's good morning US.
It's good morning.
Good morning America.
And the hot dogs were delicious. They were so good. I think we went back, twice?
A few times.
Yeah. So, really good hot dog. Not expensive, but so delicious. You have to try it.
And for the smørrebrød, we went to a place inside the Tivoli garden area. So I think it was called Helen Smørrebrød.
In the Tivoli food hall, I think it was
Yeah,
called.
so there's like a food hall kind of connected to Tivoli. So we went in there and we got one that had meatballs on it, one that had fish on it, and they were just really tasty. Highly recommend since it's close to Tivoli and that's a good place to go to when in Copenhagen. And yeah, they're yummy.
I think we like the meatball the best.
Fish.
Fish the best? Oh, we like the fish the best.
Meatball was the prettiest.
Meatball was prettiest, but the fish was the tastiest.
So do we like smørrebrød?
We do like smørrebrød.
So if there's anything that you take away from the food side of things, plan ahead for what you want to try in Copenhagen. We'd recommend the hot dogs and the smørrebrød, but do that, know what you want to spend on so you can save in other areas like breakfast and lunch with some cheap oatmeals and takeaway sandwiches.
The same can be said for the section of our budget devoted to activities. We knew we wanted to bike around the city and see Tivoli, but we also knew we needed to save money. So here's the list of what we did in Copenhagen and how much it cost.
And as always, apologies if we mispronounce things. Starting off with our free activities, take a walk to the iconic Nyhaven. It's the classic Copenhagen picture for your Instagram feed.
You can also take a walk to Copenhagen's Botanical Gardens. It's another free way to spend your morning or afternoon in Copenhagen. It's really quiet and peaceful, the flowers are beautiful, and it's just a nice atmosphere in the middle of a big city.
Moving on to some activities that are free with a bike fee, you could bike through the city and take a walk through Freetown, Christiania. The bike service that we used was called Donkey Republic. We downloaded the app on our phone, found a bike, and we were on our way. For 5.5 hours of riding in one day, it only cost me about $12 and Jenny the same. So it was a really good value for money and an awesome way to see Copenhagen. When it comes to Freetown, Christiania, you can't film there, but it's a famous place in Copenhagen. Hard to explain, you'll just have to go and see for yourself.
After biking through the city and checking out Freetown, Christiania, ride your bikes over to the windmills at Castellet. We biked our way over there and parked the bikes, walked around, and checked out the massive windmills. It's a great spot for a picture or just an afternoon walk.
Another great free activity, minus the train ticket, is to go hang out with some deer at Deerhaven. Getting there wasn't so simple for us. You can go see our experience in our vlog, but we had a lot of fun just walking around and hanging out with some deer. An interesting experience indeed.
Moving on to some activities that aren't free but are definitely worth the entry fee. The first thing you absolutely must check out when you're in Copenhagen is Tivoli Gardens. It's an old amusement park in the middle of the city, and the entrance fee is about $20 per person. We didn't get to go on the rides, but trust us, there was plenty to see.
Another activity that we enjoyed was a DIY street food tour at Refn. The cost here depends on what food you buy. Jenny and I are big foodies. We love trying food wherever we go, and there were a lot of street food vendors offering different types of food from around the world. We tried the Indian dosa and even some Nepalese dumplings. Highly recommend. Refn was a bike ride away from the city, but definitely worth the trip.
The last section of our budget that we wanted to go over is transportation. Now, Copenhagen is a really walkable city, but arguably the best way to see Copenhagen is on a bike. The only time we used the train was to get to and from the airport and out to Deerhaven, and honestly, it was not the easiest train system in the world to use. You can check out the video if you want. Like we mentioned earlier, the bikes we used were Donkey Republic. They were really easy to use with the app, and they even had a holder for your phone if you were using it as a GPS. So we had a really good experience with them, and we definitely recommend you check out Donkey Republic if you're going to Copenhagen and are looking for a cheap bike rental option.
Copenhagen can easily be a very expensive trip, but it doesn't have to be. Just do a bit of planning in the beginning, know what you want to see, and you'll have an awesome time. If you thought this video was helpful, we'd really appreciate it if you give us a like, and also please subscribe for travel content every week.
That's it. We'll see you next week. Australia, and we stopped in 9 different countries along the way. Australia and stopped in
I heard your voice shake.
Recently took a trip from the Australia and stopped in from the US to Australia, stopped from the stopping in 9 different stopped in 9 different countries along the way. Come on, why? Hold it together, you're not even talking.